Hi, welcome back to Talkin Tigers with Auburn TFC. I'm Chandler from Auburn TFC. I've had some problems with my mic, um, but hopefully it's working now. It shows that it is working now. So let's talk some Tigers. So today is, on this day of our Lord, is Talk to Me Tuesday. Tuesdays are going to be a day where really I take some fan questions, some fan topics, some things that some people have told me that they want me to talk about. And this morning I don't have a whole lot of time, but I still wanted to get an episode out there because I love to do this and I love to hear your feedback. So if you're watching this on YouTube, contact me on any of the platforms that I have on screen. Contact me in a comment on YouTube. Contact me any way you want, and give me some feedback. Tell me what you think about the episode. Tell me what you think about the stream, and let's talk some Tigers. So today, I was told a lot to talk about some of our incoming transfers, and since I don't have a whole lot of time, those are what I'm going to touch on. And today, I'm going to talk about incoming transfers for basketball, and I wanted to start off with someone and first of all, this topic comes from my good friend Tigers on a Roll. He's runs a podcast that on same as I do on Twitch, and then he posts it to YouTube just like how I do it. I take a lot of inspiration from him. All credit to him. Go check him out. Tigers on a Roll podcast. Anyway, so I wanted to start with our big man transfer. One of the only big reasons to be excited for this incoming Auburn team is the size. It's a much bigger team than past years. You know, you have Bucky Oboye, you have Thomas Dowd, you have a lot more size than you did last year. When you're for the later half of the season, your starting center was um your only two centers were what's his name? Keyshawn Murphy and Philip Jovic. I keep forgetting his name. I can't remember his name. Philip Jovic. He was your starting center last year. He was a great pick and roll threat, but he just didn't have the size to really be in a whole had to have a whole lot of success. Well, now you have international pro Narcisse Ngoy, who was recently drafted by the Clippers, but because of the draft and stash rule, he has one season to play college, one season to play at Auburn, and the more I watch this film, the more I think, man. I mean, I know he was probably going to go to the league anyway, but it sucks that we're going to lose him because he is a great package. He has a lot of what you want, a lot of what you need in a starting center in today's game. Now, I will say he's your more typical, your more stereotypical big man, strong big man in the paint, someone like Patrick Ewing, someone like Shaq, but if you're thinking about college, someone like Austin Wiley, someone like that kind of brand, like Dylan Cardwell, your big man. He's strong. He's going to get in the paint, get in the close buckets, and he's not going to shoot the ball a whole lot from outside about 5 feet of the paint. Well, for Narcisse Ngoy, I saw a good bit of promise, but I wanted to start with one of the things that I saw that's mental. He commands the ball. He's not afraid to do things himself. He is a great cutter, which that may be due to his size. He's a very effective cutter. That may be due to his size, however, but he still commands the ball with the way that he cuts. And he's like, I'm ready to take the ball. I'm ready to dominate my opponent physically, mentally, and get buckets to win this basketball game. However, he also is really good at using his length to his advantage, using his long legs for big strides, and then using that 7'6" wingspan to his advantage. I mean, there are a lot. He dunks just about everything. In the about 15 minutes of film that I watched last night, I couldn't find a whole lot of highlights, so I watched 15 minutes of highlight film, And then off stream, I watched about 10 minutes of game film from games that he's played. So, and one of the things that I take away from it is that he is very good at taking his length and using it to his advantage. So whether that be when he's outside of the perimeter and he's trying to drive, he can use his long legs for an effective spin move, or a euro step that, two steps and is almost way far under the basket, or with his arms, he a lot of times when he would pound it, fake one way, come the other, and if he was shooting a hook or shooting a layup, he was getting the ball so close to the rim that it's almost pretty much unblockable unless you're like Victor Wembanyama or someone like Oliver Ryu. So that's something to look forward to. Someone's looking forward to a player who cannot be blocked. Looking for a player who's going to have a lot of high percentage shots. Sorry. And that's what we are going to need out of him. We're going to need high percentage shots. We're going to need efficient shots. And we're going to need him to be able to use that strength to his advantage. And then next up, his post work, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I mean, you had a couple times where he had a really nice looking spin move, a really nice looking drop step. And then like there were a couple times where you fake one way, come, and then go his step through layup. However, he's not winning basketball games because of his post bag. He's not winning basketball games because of he's not Hakeem. However, he's not that bad. His post bag isn't that bad. It's decent enough to be successful. Now, the one thing that I did see is that there were post moves that had flashes of creativity. Like there was one where he was like pounding in the paint. He faked one way like he was going to the left-handed hook, and then came the other way, pump faked, came back this way, pump fake, and then stepped through, coming with the left. And that's nice. But again, like I said, he's not going to be winning basketball games that way. But it's a plus if he can get it to pan out. And that's one thing that Auburn fans are going to have to remember, that this is a guy who you're only going to have for 1 year. So you're going to have to live with what you got with Narcisse and Goy, because there's going to be development. You're going to have development from the start of the season to the end, but you're not going to be able to really have a whole lot of it, But also something that when looking to translate, like his strength, we need his strength and his ability to translate is the defense. We need his defensive ability to translate. If it does translate to the SEC, translates to college basketball, he will be a very, very impressive shot blocker. He has that want to go and protect the rim. Like the rim is his house. He wants to protect it. But again, we're going to have to see if it translates. However, like I said, if it translates, Narcisse Ngoy will be one of the scariest defensive big men in the SEC or even college basketball. Now, one thing that you like to see is he's an aggressive rebounder, especially on the offensive glass. He had that ability, he had that want to go get the ball. And now that sounds simple enough, but there's a lot of big men who they don't want to go get the ball. They want the ball, they like to get rebounds, but they don't want to do what it takes to shove themselves between three different people on the other team and come down with the rebound. He's aggressive like that. He wants it. He has the want to get that offensive rebound as a show of domination and then put it back up for two. Maybe even an N1, because his strength allows him to do that. His strength allows him to, use his leverage, use his size to get deeper into the paint and to get come down with the rebounds. And then when he's already being covered, he's able to go back up and draw fouls. But then we're going to have to see what his free throw shooting ability is. I don't have his split side up right now, but we need his free throw shooting to be somewhat decent, even if it's in the 70% range. We can't have someone like, like Austin Wiley, or someone, like in the NBA, you have Mitchell Robinson. I mean, I'm a Knicks fan. Hacka Mitch was very common. So you can't have like Hacka Narcisse. That doesn't have the same ring to it. But you can't have someone who's just able to be fouled and then be a liability, because then you're gonna have to take him out the game and you're gonna lose that defensive presence. And then some things I saw, because he's so strong and so big, he has the ability to, whenever he draws double teams, to pass out of it. He has the ability to pass out of those double teams, and that's something to look forward to. But we're going to have to see if he can be able to do consistently. Can he make the right pass consistently? Whether that's to a man open in the corner, man open on the wing, or if that's a cutter that's right behind him, you know. And he showed that ability for both kind of passes, but we're just gonna have to see if he can do it. And if he does, that will be a huge plus to his game, because with how big he is, he's gonna draw a lot of double teams. If he can pass out of it as well as score out of it, he's gonna be a great piece to this Auburn Tiger team. Next, here's a little bit of a negative. A lot of times you see he tries to do too much from time to time, and I say that as in, like, let's say like on this one play he got a pass from over the top, and he looked up at the rim, and he very easily could have come up on his left side. There was no one on his left side. He could have come up, just made a left-hand layup, got back down to the court, but instead he like pounded, did a little spin, drop step into the center of the paint, and shot a right hand hook over like three people. He could take a lot more easier shots. Now, did he make the shot? Yes. Does he have the ability to make those shots when he tries to do too much? Yes. But you don't want to, a lot of coaches say, in times of desperation, players go back to their most personal habits. And if we're in a clutch situation and he comes down with an offensive rebound and he tries to, we have barely any time left, and he tries to, do too much, could cost us the game, and who knows where we are in that game? Who knows what the circumstance is? If it's just a non-conference game, and and it's at halftime, or is it in an SEC tournament game or a tournament game and we lose and we get knocked out? So that's something that you're just going to have to look for. And hopefully I'll be able to do updates on these players halfway through the season when the season does come. And then the last thing on Narcisse Ngoy, I wanted to mention that if he pans out, he will be one of the most impactful players for this Auburn Tigers squad. I mean, with how, just watching him and how strong he is and how confident he is, he reminds me of someone like Dylan Cardwell. Now, do I think he's going to have the flash and be a fan favorite like Dylan Cardwell? No. But he's confident in his abilities, and he has the reasons to be confident in his abilities. He's not that cocky. He's not showing the most emotion, but he's going to show that, I know what I'm capable of. I know who I am. I've been playing in the pros since I was 20 years old. He's been playing in the pros before he could drink alcohol. And now he's coming to the SEC, coming to college basketball. He's already been drafted, and he has the reason to be confident in his abilities. But let's hope he doesn't get too overconfident, and that's his downfall later. Now, I would also like to touch on, I can't say his last name, but it's the 6'6" Latvian small forward shooting guard combo that we got. His first name's Montes, and I genuinely like tried for about 5 minutes to see if I like how to. I looked up how to pronounce his name and I couldn't. I got close. It's like Rubstafish or something like I can't pronounce it. So I just put Ruben. I just put Ruben, but no disrespect to him. All respect to him because that brother is a baller. You know, the first thing that I see is that he's fantastic coming off of screens. And for some people, like Kevin Overton, I talked about yesterday, he's great on coming off of screens, off the ball. But this guy, his shooting stroke is so pure. He has the skill to come off of screens on ball and off the ball. And that's something that's really nice because you're going to have someone like Tahad Pettiford, Kevin Overton, your playmakers who are going to be looking for those shooters, who are going to be looking for that ability to shoot in their teammates. And I keep calling back to when Stephen Pearl said, I want this to be like the Final Four team, or like the 2019 Final Four team. I want this to be a hot shooting team who can play great defense. I haven't seen a whole lot of it from his defensive ability. We'll talk about that in a second. But some good water. Water is good does the body good. And you know what else does the body good? Is watching this kid shoot. The shooting stroke is chicken. But like I said, when he's coming off of those screens to use that shooting stroke, we're going to need him to be able to do that consistently, which he's shown in the film that he can. He has experience playing for a Latvia national team in the NBL. He has experience in the NBA Summer League. So, and he's proven that he can get some nice buckets. Now, was he better overseas than in the Summer League? Yeah, but there's a lot better. I'd say if you put a Summer League team up against a league team from the NBL, something like that, I think the Summer League team would win. And now, something that I also saw was that his shooting ability is consistent. So when I played basketball, a thing that you hear a lot is the perfect make in basketball, and you can picture this when you shoot the ball and it goes in and it comes off that back of the rim and the ball comes back to you. Almost every single make from this guy was making barely any sound. The only sound you could hear was it hitting the back of the rim as it went in. You love to see that. You love to see a shooter like that. And one of the things is some of the shots that this guy was making were insane. However, he tends to rely on his shooting ability instead of taking a better shot or just passing it. He knows he can shoot. We know he can shoot. But that also could be a little bit of his downfall because of the fact, he's so good. It's not that he's really, really cocky, but he could make the smarter pass sometimes. There were some of the highlights that I saw and some of the game shots that I saw were just, he tried to come off a screen one way. He got stopped by the drop coverage, comes the other way with another screen, and then a guy hedges the screen, and he's not able to get past. So what did he do? Pound dribble, sidestep, chicken. Now, do I think that that's going to be something he can do consistently? No. I don't think he can do that consistently. He's going to need to learn how to pass more. And his passing ability is pretty basic. He can make the right pass if he needs to. However, I just think that he needs to be able to take the smarter shots. I think we're going to use him a lot as like a Klay Thompson kind of guy, or someone who's pretty good at coming off the screens was Jared Harper and knocking it down. But obviously, when it comes to a shooting stroke and Auburn players, you think of someone like Bryce Brown. You think of someone like Miles Kelly. Someone who is a great shooter, and then secondarily, he can come off the dribble. And he has that ability to come off the dribble. And some things that I saw that he's a lefty, So, a lot of lefties are great shooters, but we're going to have to see how well he can come off the dribble, because if teams start hedging screens or just straight up just hounding him, and then when he gets the ball, if they're not letting him shoot, we're going to have to see what he can do when they take his best part of his game out of the question. That's when we're going to see how really good of a basketball player he is. And going into the film study, I didn't really know where he would sit on our team. If you're looking for a small ball team, at least in the guard areas, combo guards areas, I consider a small forward a combo guard because he's a forward and a guard. Well, Montas should be starting at your 3, to be completely honest. I mean, he's definitely your 6th man. Like this guy's good. I really like what we have in this guy, and I really like what we could do with him. Now the defensive ability is decent. He has it's somewhat decent at coming off and stealing passes, but that's he can get into the passing lanes pretty effectively. But other than that, I haven't seen the best defensive ability out of him. And I mean, under Stephen Pro, that's going to be changed. That's going to be improved, absolutely. But I mean, this guy has the utmost potential to be a backup for Kevin Overton when he's out, or your starting 3. But he is going to be a heavy player in the lineup. He's going to be incredibly necessary when it comes to our success. And so for the last player that I'm going to be doing is Thomas Dowd, coming in from Troy. He averaged about 14 points, 10.1 rebounds. He led the Sun Belt in rebounds, and Troy. He won the MVP of the Sun Belt Conference Championship game, where he led the Trojans to a victory in a conference title. Now this one's a bit shorter. He's not the flashiest player. However, he gets honest buckets. He gets honest shots. And he makes them ethical basketball. And, that's due to, but like when he was flashy, you see it in his elite driving ability. You think of Philip Jovic, how he just had the ability to, he just wants to dunk everything. This guy is like if Philip Jovic had a better dribble and was a better rebounder. He's 6'8", he has a decent build, but a lot of the promise comes in just his ability to rebound and his ability to come off the dribble. He has a lot of potential is what I'm saying. And what I'm saying is, I mean, if you really wanted to go big and put Bucky Oboye at your 4, which I don't really recommend because I think Bucky Oboye is going to be your backup 5 or your starting 5. No, I think Bucky Oboye is going to be your backup 5, but we'll talk about him later. Right now with Thomas Dowd, I think he's your starting 4. I think he is going to be your starting power forward. You don't have a lot of power forwards right now that can be effective at that position. So Thomas Dowd is definitely the front runner for your power forward position. He's also a streaky shooter. He has the ability to make shots from outside. Coming off one dribble, coming off a screen, knock it down. Little step backs I saw a couple times. But I mean, it's not his strongest point. The inside scoring ability is his strongest point. But there's a lot of promise in it. He doesn't bring a whole lot to the table when it comes to variety. But what he does bring to the table, he does very well. And like I said, he's a good rebounder. He'll sit nicely at that starting 4 position because he came off a season where he led the whole conference in the Sun Belt and rebounds per game at 10.1. So that's going to be really nice to see, really fun to watch. And I'm excited to see these 3 players come and wear a Tiger uniform and see what they can do. So real quick, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you and appreciate my sponsor, Barner Supply Co. Barner Supply Co. has anything you need when it comes to hats, cups, shirts. They're mainly a hat company, but all of their products are good. I have a cup coming in and another hat coming in that I can't wait to show off. And, I love their products. And, something that bothers me with hats is I can't really wear headphones with a whole lot of hats. Like, for example, I have this Birmingham Stallions hat, and, it's comfortable. I like this hat, but whenever I wear headphones, it hurts. This whole part right here hurts because where the headphones are actually sitting right there. This hat is perfect for me when it comes to the size of it and when it comes to how it sits on my head. It's perfect for me. And one thing that I know I love is the size of these hats. I have a pretty big head. I'm not gonna lie to you. However, this hat far, far exceeds any hat that I have when it comes to size. I have one hat that I don't need to put on the third notch besides this one, and it's a New York Knicks New York NBA championship hat. It's on the third ring. It's on the third button. That's quality. That's something that I need. That's something that means a lot to me. And they look sleek. They're durable. I have worn this hat to games. I've worn this hat, obviously, to podcast. I've worn this hat to work. I've worn this hat to work outside. And it's great for working outside because of the mesh back. And, these are going to stay where you need them to be on your head. And frankly, this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite hat that I own, and it could be your favorite too. Just go to barnsupply.com and pick up any of your barning needs. And lastly, this is a little bit of a more fun conversation to have instead of, these are things that are. This is just something fun that was brought up to me by one of my friends, Turd Ferguson. He said in EA College Football 27, Auburn's defense isn't that good. So I kind of looked into it for a little bit. And Auburn's defense is only rated an 80 overall, with only 4 of their top 10 rated players being defensive players. Is this something to worry about? Now, again, this is just a hypothetical conversation, hypothetical, situation. You're really just, these are just, this is just a topic starter. No one's worried about how good a team is in a football video game. But does it bring the opportunity to show a lot of people what this team can do? Yes, it does. It gives a lot of opportunity to show out in the coming years. So that's something that I'm going to be looking forward to is how good is this team going to be, and how much better is it going to be than a lot of people think it is. And I'm really excited to watch this football team. I think that I've given my thoughts, and I think it's gonna impress a lot of people. That's what I think. But not that a whole lot of people were worrying about it, but I don't think it's anything to worry about. There's going to be improvement, and yeah. So I just want to thank y'all for watching episode 4 of Talkin Tigers with me, Auburn TFC. I think at one point I saw that we had 3 viewers, so that's a new high. Really happy. Hope that we can keep reaching new heights. And once again, have a great rest of your day, and war damn TFC.